Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Mark Spalding, and I am the president of the Ocean Foundation. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about investing in the new blue economy. First, I wanted to tell you a tiny bit about the Ocean Foundation. The Ocean Foundation is what's known as a public foundation, meaning that we are literally supported by the public. We are not a government entity. We are not a private family foundation. We are not a corporate foundation. We work with many, many individuals, corporations, government agencies, but we don't have an endowment. We have grantees and projects in 40 countries on 6 continents. And our mission is to improve the ability of others to reverse the destruction of the ocean environment. As I said, we have a number of different ways we do our work across these different countries and continents. We work with donors and have donor advised funds, committee advised funds. We work with individuals who have their own projects doing what's called fiscal sponsorship. And then we do a few projects of our own focused on ocean acidification, blue carbon, underwater cultural heritage, and the like, and blue economy. So first of all, I wanted to note that the ocean economy has existed almost always from earliest times of mankind, and it has been there for transport and trade. And remember, this was the way to do trade long before there were highways or railroads or airliners. And so it was the backbone of trade. Um, it and it was done in a way that was sustainable. The ships were made from renewable materials, wood, and sailed with wind power. And I think that was a remarkable thing. And what we're seeing now, interestingly, is an arc of change over time, where we went from sail to coal powered ships to bunker fuel powered ships, now to some cleaner fuels, but also we're beginning to see electronically controlled, artificial intelligence controlled, computer controlled sail vessels that allow ships to go back to sailing with the wind. The ocean economy was also there for resource extraction, fishing, and the like, but also, sadly, waste disposal, both intentional and unintentional. Now, when we have all of this ocean economy activity, we also have to really think about what I like to refer to as non-market values, things that don't necessarily come into accounting normally. And the ocean generates a lot of economic values, and we have to figure out how to quantify those and how to think about losses that may come from losing those values. So here are 4 categories of those values: provisioning, regulating, supporting, and cultural services. We are thinking about the fact that the ocean produces a majority of the oxygen we breathe, and the entire uh, transevaporation system of the planet is dependent on the ocean to produce water. And then, of course, we get food, which is the only part of provisioning that we actually quantify in national accounts and things like that. But we have all these other things here of supporting functions. The ocean filters pollution and processes some kinds of waste, but we don't quantify that. And it's just a fascinating thing going forward. Now, we, humankind, depend on the ocean for all of those things I've just mentioned. Um, and most of us live near the ocean, within 50 miles of the ocean. And 1 billion people rely on the ocean for their daily protein needs. Now, I mentioned that some of those non-market values are threatened, as are the market values, the things we measure, shipping and fishing. And here's a list of the threats that are being monitored by those of us in the conservation community to the ocean. CO2 emissions causing the ocean warming and acidification, overfishing, noise pollution, you name it. All of these things are causing harm to the ocean. And what's really frightening, of course, is that they accumulate. We have to worry about the impact of warmer water combined with plastic loading, combined with excess nutrients causing algal blooms. And it's not just one thing or one thing at a time. So let's talk about a new blue economy. We like to refer to this as a subsector that is focused on moving us away from extraction focuses and harm to the ocean. One that is a positive or virtuous cycle where the ocean gets healthier, regenerates, and we restore its abundance and ability to supply our needs. We want this subset to be what we're importantly paying attention to. Now, let me describe this in a way as a comparison. When I say green business, you imagine immediately, I hope, that I'm talking about those businesses who are trying to be green or who are trying to be sustainable, and that they are a subset of all business. So when we say blue economy, we're talking about those businesses who are trying to be sustainable or trying to be green with regard to the ocean economy. So we're taking that big ocean economy and talking about a subset. And we're trying to eliminate those activities that were short-sighted or unsustainable, right? We always believed we could put as much bad stuff in the ocean and take out as much good stuff out of the ocean as we wished, but we can't. We now know that, it is possible to tip the scales, to harm the ocean by what we dump in and by taking too much good stuff out. If we stop ourselves from doing those bad things, will reduce the risk to our water, our food, and our energy security. And so this is the sustainability that we're really looking for and trying to understand. Now, some parts of the old economy are sustainable. Some parts of the new ocean economy, emerging sectors in the ocean economy, may be blue, may be sustainable, and some of them may not be. So here's some examples of the old ocean economy: offshore oil and gas, commercial fishing, open pen aquaculture, etc. Some of these can be improving. Shipping is definitely improving. Aquaculture is definitely improving and becoming more sustainable. And so figuring out how we get there is critical, making sure we're making the right kinds of investments. We're also seeing new industry sectors that are making change in the ocean economy. And some of these, like renewable energy, tidal, wave, ocean thermal exchange, etc., are likely to be sustainable. Others, like seabed mining, may turn out to be unsustainable and not fall into our idea of what we want to invest in as we pursue a new blue economy. And I've put a list here of all of the different, emerging sectors, nutraceuticals, fisheries byproduct transformation, you name it. There's a lot of new things going on in the ocean, tremendous amount of interest and investment in new blue technologies, and et cetera. And so we just need to have a filter and not make mistakes as we have in the past. So here at the Ocean Foundation, we are very heavily involved in ocean-related investing. We began this in about 2007, 2008, when we began thinking about, the sort of private sector investing. And the way we started this was by, talking about the fact that we were very familiar with the threats to the ocean, and that we could imagine what the solutions to address those threats were. And then we could ask ourselves which industry sectors might be working on those solutions, and then search for companies who had the best in class products or services to invest in. So I'll give you an example. Threat is the introduction of alien or invasive species in our bays and harbors, and a solution is to clean ship ballast water before dumping it. The probable industry sectors we decided who were working on that were those in the chemical treatment sector or filtration sectors. And in the end, we found a couple of companies, one in Europe and one somewhere else, that did filtration combined with UV light treatment, and another one that did pasteurization. And that way we could, work on addressing this threat. So those are the companies whose stock we bought. This whole effort to think about this resulted in our partnership with Rockefeller Capital Management and the launch of what was originally called the Rockefeller Ocean Strategy in 2012. This strategy has recently been renamed a Climate Solutions Fund, because so much of what we ended up investing in had to do with dealing with climate and carbon transition and all of that sort of thing. But the important piece here is we invested in companies that have a product or service that is actively good for the ocean. And we believed that those companies who were looking at addressing threats to the ocean and thought they could make a profit were going to be good bets, if you will, for investing. And this fund has been operational since 2012. We think of it as a triple screened fund in that we look at the bona fides of what is actively good for the ocean, and then Rockefeller looks at the bona fides of whether these are good companies to invest in, and then do all of their normal corporate social responsibility and ESG screening. So this is an incredibly screened fund. It is a global fund. It is private placement, meaning it's a limited liability partnership at this time, and it's all cap. We have some small cap, medium cap, and large cap funds. I'm pleased to let you know that we have made this open to the public in Europe, and hopefully will soon be able to do so in the United States. This fund has a little over $160 million in assets under management as of June 2021. Because of our success with that fund since 2012, in early 2020, we bid and by we, Rockefeller and the Ocean Foundation, bid on an opportunity that Credit Suisse put out to create an ocean engagement fund. Now, if that first fund was all about solutions, this fund is about those who are causing harm to the environment, thinking about how we could literally buy stock in companies who are causing harm to the environment and then engage with their corporate management and talk to them, offer solutions, offer ideas of how to change behavior, offer ideas on what they could do differently for the ocean. We launched this fund in September of 2020, and as of June 2021, we have the slide is actually already out of date from last month. In June 2021, we have $670 million in assets under management in this fund. As soon as we launched it in September and got our first money in hand and began investing, we began right away engaging companies. We've already had some successes. We've talked to a major international shipping line about changing their practices for end-of-life ship recycling, or ship breaking as it's known. We've engaged with an international fisheries conglomerate on managing plastic in their lines of production, as well as in dealing with ghost gear. We have engaged a coastal construction firm regarding nature-based solutions instead of only using gray or concrete solutions. And those are just three examples of the kind of engagements we're doing. What we fundamentally believe is that companies that have a product or service that is actively good for the ocean, whether it's the ones we've chosen for the Solutions Fund, who already have gotten there, who are leaders, or the ones who we believe we can change through the engagement fund that have the potential to improve, it will be great for investors. It will provide investors with an income, but it will also make the ocean healthier.